when that heart and the mind is connected with that one feeling, I feel you can just take on the world. And although I'm not taking on the world, I'm taking on my world.
Today we have Rita Morar, superstar singer, close friend of mine for many years. So Rita, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a fusion music artist based in London. I fuse Hindi and English sounds. I try and make it my own if I can, make some sense of it. I've been singing for most of my life from a very young age, and I've been an established solo independent artist for 10 years or so.
This video series is all about music and how it improves people's mental health, and we're trying to showcase people who have been using music and creating things that have been helping them, especially over the last few months when things have gotten a bit more challenging with the pandemic. What are your thoughts on music and how it improves your mental health?
Yeah. If anyone knows me and you start to follow my journey, you'll always see that I'm always advocating music and how music heals. And this year hasn't been an easy one for all of us. You know, we're all learning new emotions, new feelings because of the pandemic. And I've always pondered why music meant so much to me and how it has been healing me. So last year I thought about a project called Music Heals. I thought to myself, how can I use my platform and how can I advocate music out there in the community that I'm part of? And I basically speak to another creative individual what music means to them. And it's been phenomenal, Amal. I didn't expect it to take off. I've done over 50 shows since March, and I'm still going. And one thing I learned, because obviously, you know, mental health plays a big part of when you're bringing in music to heal yourself. I totally believe that I was very nervous to put something out like this out there because I didn't know how people would judge me, because firstly, I'm not a presenter. Secondly, I'm just an artist who just shares my music and just supports everybody. So to be out of my comfort zone and talk about music and what music means, literally no script, just banter. And I mean, you've also been on it, Amal, so you know what it's all about. And for me, that was a big eye-opener, that music does actually heal. Music plays a big part in a lot of people's journey, whether it be a favourite song, a favourite sound, a moment that they always cherish, something that helps them reignite their passion for life. And that's one of the things I've been doing. But then flipping that, also I worked a lot on my music as well. So this pandemic and this lockdown has really made me understand what my courage has been to push music forward in the most positive way I can.
And I know that we've spoken about this before, and it's that what is that thing that keeps reminding you that there's this idea inside you that you have to get out? Like, what keeps you going when the world is telling you that this is, you know, this might not work or whatever? What is that thing? What is that inspiration inside you that kept Music Heals, which is an incredible podcast, and you've had some incredible people on there who have shared quite intimate journeys.
I have actually.
What was it that kept you going?
It was the power of music. As cheesy as it sounds, I don't think I would have survived without music, because music has been there for me when a lot of people have left my side or I've had any traumas in my life. I've always been able to lean onto music because music doesn't judge and you can listen to it all day long or wherever. And my resilience comes from music. So I had a major trauma in my life, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. So when I had that trauma, I leant onto music, and then music was my powerful force. So every time I feel low, or I do feel that I would like to give up because I can't do this on my own, I stop and think about that moment, and I think to myself that this has given me the strength. Music gave me the strength. So if I could get through that, I could get through anything. And it's just the power of the mind, really, where that heart and the mind is connected with that one feeling. I feel you can just take on the world. And although I'm not taking on the world, I'm taking on my world, as in reaching out to the people, and they're then reaching out to other people to tell them about what I'm doing. And yeah, we're all connecting. And through this pandemic, it's been all about connection as well, not only music, who we're connecting with, who we're learning from, who we're inspiring from, because the world out there needs a bit of love and needs inspiration, especially when so much has been restricted to us to be in lockdown, not to be able to see family and friends. You know, how can we keep inspired on the daily? Because when I first started Music Heals, Amal, it was, you know, no one's going to believe me. Who's going to come on? Everyone's going to laugh at me. And it was my own insecurity that was coming into play. And that was my own mental health awareness that that's something I have to work on. And through each episode, it's just got better and better. And it's given me more courage that I can actually do this. And we can actually talk about music.
Well, that's it, really. I think when you bring your inner world to the outer world, that's when, you know, I've seen you inspire people through what you're doing with Music Heals, and I think it's inspired me, actually, even setting this thing up, just because you always have, I always have this doubt in my head, and this idea came out when I couldn't sleep one day. I was just it was just bouncing around in my head, and I was just thinking, why have we not put that phrase, music for mental health, together?
Yeah, totally.
And it creates that conversation, which is coming from a different place, especially during this time where everybody's watching the news, looking at how many people are dying. And, you know, there's so much fear in the world. There's so much uncertainty. And so it's difficult to have that feeling of everything's going to be okay, especially if you're watching the media. So to create this conversation, I think it speaks to a different part of people. It speaks to their soul. It speaks to somewhere a bit more, you know,
speaks
healthy.
To the energy, doesn't it, Amal? I think it speaks to people on a different level to just keep that positivity going and that energy going, that we will get through this. And I don't think there's no greater force than that.
It's incredible what you're doing. And again, I'd like to acknowledge how much strength and courage it takes, and how inspiring you are. As an artist, as a friend, as a human being, so that's great.
You've seen us grow, you know, I think we're all growing, you know, and that makes me proud. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd like to just move on to Blossoms in Isolation, which is your EP that was released a couple of months ago now, isn't it? It's great. It's got some amazing music on there. So there's one, the title track of the EP, Blossoms in Isolation. We'll play a short excerpt of it, maybe about 30 seconds, and then we can have a chat about it. Is that okay? Those words speak so much. Could you tell us, like, how did you come up with that? How did this track begin?
I've been playing the piano for 2 years now, Amal. I'm a grade 1. I'm still learning. And I love sitting with my piano and just playing chords. I think it was just a way of me just releasing my emotion. And there was one evening I was on IG Live, and I was just playing riffs. I was playing chords. And I had quite a few people on, actually. It was right around 12:30. I couldn't believe it, actually. About 20 people. And they were enjoying it. And then I went to sleep, woke up. I received about 4 messages from different people to say that, you know, we love this track, because I was saying, would you like me to put this into a track? I was just joking. And they're like, yeah, we like the track, we like this riff, please can you develop it further? So I was in the studio one day, late at night actually, And this was around April, and playing it, and I thought, okay, let me try and put lyrics to this. And I started to write poetry. This is how I start my songs. I write poems and then I expand on them. And it was literally everything I was feeling that night. I was missing my family, friends and family, and like stories around the world. I was hearing people missing their loved ones, or people were ghosting people, or, you know, there was so much going on. There was just so much emotion. And I thought, how can I put that in a song? And then this is where Blossoms in Isolation came about. I started to think about my walks in the morning, how at that time it was spring as well, how the blossoms were blooming, but we can't really appreciate them to their fullest. And we're in isolation, hence why Blossoms in Isolation, that the blossoms are blooming out there, but I'm at home on my own, alone. And then I just expanded on that idea. So it was a kind of a song that showed a lot of vulnerability. And in this day and age as well, Amal, we have been given the chance to actually be ourselves. So it's actually okay not to be okay. And I wanted to project that into that song. I contacted Shika B, who's a great friend and a producer, and within a day or so he came back with this song. I was completely blown away. And then he said to me, should we get Robin Christian on, who plays a Bantry flute?
Yeah.
And then that just nailed it. So there's just a mountain of emotion, a mountain of variety of the kind of music. It's not your normal song. And I'm just so glad that I was able to put something out with an amazing team that became the heart of my EP, because then that drove me to make other songs that hone in on emotion of what we are feeling in lockdown. And that's what I've learned as well over the years, Amal, as a solo artist, that I want to make music from the heart. I don't want to make music to get a million likes or get the... it's just all about emotion.
Well, I have absolute faith in you that, you know, this is going to develop, and your creative spirit will develop as well. And in this track, what I really enjoyed was, or what I noticed was, there were those three elements. So you had Robin on the flute, you had Shri on the tabla, and your vocals. Yeah. And you hear all three of your voices in this. Like, the tabla is an incredible beat, and it's just made so contemporary, and he's produced the track incredibly well. And I've worked with Robin on a previous track where he sent in a flute, which just kind of he's very effortless in his ability to create some flute and just lift the track completely and just add that human touch. And it's kind of a voice without words.
Voice without
his flute,
words, but his emotion and the notes that he played. I didn't even give him direction. Yeah. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Even Shri, I just gave him the riff, I gave him the lyrics. This is, that's what he made. So thanks for speaking to us about your story and Blossoms in Isolation. So what's next for you, Rita? I am actually dropping a track on Friday, 27th of November. Actually, that's
awesome. That's soon.
And it's called Habibi. And it's actually a flip from everything that you hear on that EP. It's back to my Bollywood roots, and it's something to lift people up. So it's called Habibi, and it features Drifter, who produced the music, and it's just a feel-good factor again. And there's also going to be an amazing video to it.
Awesome. And so where can the viewers and listeners follow you? Where's the best place to go?
Come and check me out on Instagram. I'm the most liveliest on there. So I'm at Rita Morar. But you can also find me on Twitter, Rita Morar UK. But all my information is on my own website, which is ritamorar.com. So that's RITAMORAR. And drop me a message, and then let's connect and enjoy my music.
Right, that's great. It's been amazing to speak to you, Rita.
Thank you, Amal. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and I think this is amazing what you're doing. Again, just advocating the need for music out there, because this is what the world needs, a bit of faith and a bit of sparkle and energy. So stay tuned for next week, and we'll have our next story. So subscribe, like, comment, all those great things if you believe in what we're doing.